Damn, this is... Anyways, olfactory reference syndrome. A thing I wanted to talk about because I remember watching a video a month or two ago from a woman who thought that she had T-mal, but as you continue to hear the video, she found out that she had some type of olfactory reference syndrome where she believed that she had T-mal. She was restricting her diet, and nonetheless, she still got comments and reactions. That inspired me to actually look into olfactory reference syndrome. I've heard it before, but I want to give the proper definition because I know I'm going to forget. So I have my trusty handy dandy iPad to read the official definition from an article. So it says here, olfactory reference syndrome, ORS, is an under-recognized and often severe condition that has similarities to obsessive compulsive disorder and body dysmorphic disorder. People with ORS think they smell bad, but in reality they don't. There's a profound mismatch between their own perception and the perception of other people. So the topic is simple. Do you believe that you might have ORS? Now, I know that's probably going to offend a lot of people because a lot of people have been told throughout their lives that, oh, I don't smell anything, that they're crazy, or that they're crazy, or they felt like people were implying that they're crazy because they could not detect it or at all. But in reality, in some instances, they can detect it, but they're afraid to tell them that they can smell them and stuff like that. So this topic might be controversial. It might offend some people or something like that. But I do think it's a good topic to talk about because of the video I watched a couple of months ago about this woman who really thought that she had T-mal when in reality she didn't have anything at all. And I have a couple of hundred subscribers, so I do think that the majority of people who say that they have halitosis, or they say have body odor, or they say have PATM, I actually believe them. But I think there is a percentage of people who believe that they have one of those three things or something else, and they actually don't have it at all. They just have this form of obsessive compulsive disorder where they believe that they have it, and they just constantly overanalyze body movements and see if anybody rubs their nose or does any type of movement that makes them feel like this is a hint that I smell bad. And ultimately, they just become depressed for no reason. Whereas people who actually have T-mal or something similar to T-mal actually have something to be really depressed about. I, for one, thought about olfactory reference syndrome. The first time I ever heard of it was in college because obviously in college I had a really bad time. And I would constantly just go on the internet and try to look up things from 2009 to 2011, just go on the internet, hide myself away from public, go on the internet trying to look for some shit, right? And I could never find anything, but I did find olfactory reference syndrome before. I stumbled upon that, and it made me start to question if this is all in my head, because when I would go to physicians, there was a college physician, and I would go to him like every month or every 2 weeks or so, because once you constantly get these mentionings, these insults, these comments about you smelling bad, you're like, what the fuck is going on? So the only person I would go to that give me some explanation of what's going on is obviously a doctor. So I would go to him and I tell him the things I hear people say about me. But for him, for some reason, he assumed that the reason why I would constantly go to him is because I was lonely and I didn't have friends, which was the case. I was lonely and I didn't have friends because of this condition, but that's not the reason why I came up to him. I was trying to find a solution to this shit. I was trying to find a solution. But yeah, I couldn't explain why doctors could not detect it. I could not explain why, and there's multiple doctors and family members say that I don't smell anything. I couldn't explain it. So when I saw that definition I read about olfactory reference syndrome, I paused for a moment and reflected if I possibly did have it. I thought about the possibility that maybe this shit is all in my head. Maybe, because there is no other explanation as to why a doctor can't smell it or a family member can't smell it. There's no explanation as to any of this shit. The only explanation is with possibly T-mal, and I don't know if I have that. And at the moment, at that time, I thought fishy odor syndrome was only about people who have fish odor. And I only hear comments of people saying I smell like shit. So I didn't know what to think about it. So I paused for a moment within my college years and really started to think about it. And then I was like, nah, this is not in my head. This shit is happening for real, 100% in real life. But for some people feel the same way, and they might actually have ORS. So I think posing the question, do you think you might have ORS, is a pretty interesting topic. Another follow-up question to that is, have you ever heard someone say that you smell that bad, or overheard someone say that you smell bad? Because if for people who have ORS, I think their main thing that triggers them or makes them think that they smell bad is by just body language, or by people rubbing their face or nose or whatever. I don't think they actually heard anybody say shit, right? But for me, I've overheard people talk shit right when I leave the door. Like let's say I'm in a room and I just leave the room, I overhear the motherfucker talk shit behind my back. I remember this one memory when I was working at this cultural arts center. I was working at a theater, and I'm immediately about to leave because I'm off my shift. And as I walk out the door, one of the, I guess she's supposed to be a supervisor or the leader or team leader, was talking about me, and she called me. She was like, "Oh, Jermaine stank ass something something something." I couldn't hear the rest of it because as I walked out, I'm moving away from the door. I'm walking more away and going to my car. I'm leaving basically, so I couldn't hear as much as what I wanted to hear. But that is just one of the many type of examples I would overhear people make mention of me smelling bad. So, but I just wanted to pose the question. I didn't want to make it long. I do want to drop the link to the video I saw of the woman talking about how she thought she smelled bad. And I also want to drop the link to this definition from the blog called Catherine Phillips, where she talks about olfactory reference syndrome. Other than that, salute.